Yes, yes. Welcome to the ancient world of tabletop games. I am Agamemnon from the historical documentary Time Bandits. This is a report from a fugitive. Not so long ago, I attempted an unscripted video about role-playing games. What were they? In the words of their own rulebooks. Where possible, I used extracts from those books taken from the section usually entitled, What is a Role-Playing Game? Long before I started the channel, I bought in a few obscure bits and pieces, role-playing games of yesteryear that were widely available at reasonable prices so that I could eventually talk about those games in my videos using a historical context. Let's roll out the cliché. The state of role-playing game design is the state of flux. The tide is always incoming. More stuff, more changes, more advanced as we go along, we hope. What does more advanced mean? Fewer complex rules as the hobby develops down the decades rather than more complex ones. This is the product of the RPG universe accelerating away from the Big Bang event of Dungeons & Dragons sparking into life from an egg hatched by tabletop wargames replete with charts and, well, even more charts. But books from yesteryear do not stop being books if new books with tidied rules appear on the scene at a supposedly more enlightened date. It should be possible, with some work, to run any role-playing game from the entire history of the RPG hobby. Of course, we can say that of every game that's out this year or next year. Role-playing games, old or new, always require effort, input, the burning of energy refueled by pizza. Back to the video. For over an hour I bored myself beyond bored stiff into rigor mortis. I'd hold up an ancient RPG and discover there was no such section as what is a role-playing game. It hadn't quite become standard in those Promethean times. We expect to see that section in every game now, just as we expect that section to contain a subsection inviting experienced players to skip on to the next bit. What is a role-playing game? Is a deceptively difficult part of the rulebook to write. I know from bitter experience. Greg Stafford, R.I.P., cast a weary eye over my attempt at an RPG and told me I never quite managed to get around to saying just exactly what a role-playing game is. When I see other games falling foul of the stumbling block, I sympathize, but not too much. My thoughts have fallen more in sympathy with the poor bastards who have to decode the rules, the players. Sympathy for player characters from a game master. Wonders never cease. I tried very hard to avoid repetition when making the lost video. Between rulebooks flashed up on the screen, I dropped comments and observations on systems specifically and settings in general. Systems and settings was the rarest supplement for GURPS. Only 7.5 copies were printed. And that is a role-playing fact. The main problem was uniformity. One company produces several game settings based around the one game system. Advantage: if players learn one game, then players learn all the games using that system. Familiarity and ease of use combine to increase sales across the board. So the story goes. But that uniformity extended to the text copied and pasted across many rulebooks. Fine for players to grasp, of little use for the purposes of my lost video. I persisted, rulebook after rulebook, game upon game. What is a role-playing game? Oh, it's like playing cops and robbers, but the rules and the dice let you know who shot who in the Embarcadero in August 1879. Improvisational theatre. You're playing out an episode of a TV show with whatever theme the game covers, and so on. It's a game with one player at the table as the story guide, the referee, the man or woman behind the curtain no one pays attention to. And all the other players come in and shit over the carefully crafted adventure. Pardon my mistake. All the other players come in and explore the infinite possibilities of living in a free-form world packed with exciting possibilities. And shit. After an hour of stops and starts, I decided I hadn't achieved anything of note with this unscripted format. I've filmed unscripted mini-movies before to good effect. This time, though, I started with the intention of avoiding repetition while walking through a minefield of nothing but repetition. I'd been recording the audio separately. The camera picked up sounds on its own microphone, but I used the Yeti microphone to capture higher quality audio. Perhaps one day I'll salvage a few points from the Yeti audio. Some days technology works against you, nay, it actively conspires to screw you over. I felt the video was a failure and I reached to end the video recording. The film froze. I saved it knowing a frozen film was dead. It would show up as a ruined file and I wouldn't even obtain audio from it. No matter. I still had the Yeti audio. There were a few rulebooks still on the table. With the audio intact, I could load that in and edit the repetition out. Then it wouldn't matter that I'd lost footage from the broken file. I'd just go back in and quickly film the footage I needed, matched to the revised Yeti audio. And so I grabbed the last few rulebooks on the table and I continued with a second video that lasted around 10 minutes. I moved on, loading the Yeti audio into the sound editor. The sound was off, very low quality, listenable, but with a feeling of mush sloshing around your ears as you listened in. What did I have left? A scrap of video. Audio beyond recovery. I certainly didn't have the will to carry on, so I cleared the table and went in search of another topic. Instead of discussing role-playing games, I conjured a return to board game loot from airy nothingness. So what's the point of this video? It's a video about losing a video, and not just for technical reasons. I was, after all, killing my video off by stopping it seconds before the technology shut down, and did that by default. Develop the ability to know when a video isn't working out and cut the dead horse adrift. Don't flog it. No horses were flogged, killed, set adrift, or set afire in the making of that video, or this video. One day I'll return to the topic of just exactly what a role-playing game is. Still, there is the technical point to consider. Here I am filming a very raw block of unedited footage. I've decided to leave it untouched, save for editing it to fit this new audio. What happens if your video idea is fine, but the technical side lets you down? I tend to film in short blocks. For a 10-minute audio track, I'll begin with the idea of 10 separate movies at around a minute each. If I film 10 times and there's a camera glitch once, then I've lost 1 minute of film and not the whole 10 minutes. It doesn't work out that regularly, minute by minute. I'll film whole sequences in around 4 minutes and edit down to get the 30 seconds I'm after. Once in a discoloured moon, a minute of footage will generate a minute of final film. That's a rare bird. I'll admit, it was unusual to have substandard audio from the Yeti and from the webcam at the same time. Webcam audio is never terrific. I guess the Yeti was having a slow coffee day. If your idea doesn't work, shelve it. Don't shred it, though. Keep it in mind for another time. If your camera doesn't work, test all the cables under the table, look for gremlins, check for dust, hoist the mainsail, wet the baby's head, cross the bridge when it is under you. It wasn't my intention to film a video lasting over an hour. I've filmed over an hour of material before and boiled the raw sewage down to 30 minutes. This is worth repeating. Always film more footage than you'll need, then cut it to fit your narrative. Recording the audio to fit the footage you've already edited is daunting. Been there, done that, wore out the t-shirt. Wouldn't go back if you gave me all the dice in the world. I don't need all the dice in the world. Every player says that, and every player is willing to buy more dice, no matter what. Dice are finite resources. Their lucky powers run out fast, leaving players with no option but to surrender goodly coin to the evil dice overlords. Yes, I said that aloud again, didn't I? I can't speak about the video I made on the evil dice overlords. They bribed me with a particularly lucky D20 to make that video go away. The particularly lucky D20 rolls 1 to 3 in my hands. I must find a game system that features best results for lowest rolls. There are, of course, no evil dice overlords. They are underlords, and that makes all the difference. This video serves as a record of a video that never was. Even if I'd captured the raw footage, I'd have abandoned the narrative and gone for something more structured. Maybe next time. Always have a next time, next project, a next goal, in case you must shelve the current video at no notice.